Welcome back. President Trump's crime crackdown is taking the nation by storm. According to a new poll, the majority of United States adults agree that crime is a major problem, including 68% of Democrats. Since D.C.'s takeover, Baltimore crime has seen a violent crime rate 9 times greater than that compared to Washington, D.C. And with 54% of voters backing President Trump's actions in the nation's capital, perhaps he should now go to Baltimore. Joining me now is the Democrat governor of Maryland, Wes Moore. Governor, let me just start by thanking you for being here today and having this discussion with me. Thank you.
Thank you, Will. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
I think it's important that we have these back and forths in these discussions. Speaking of back and forth, you've been having one with President Trump. You recently said when it comes to crime that there's actually not a concern about our safety in Maryland and that this is just a game to President Trump. I would ask you, do you know, Governor, where Baltimore rates among violent crime rates of American cities?
No, and I want to be clear. I never said that safety is not a concern. In fact, that's one of the reasons that I ran for governor in the first place. That in 2022, the year before I became the governor, Baltimore was averaging almost a homicide a day. That in the 8 years before I became the governor, under my predecessor, the homicide rate nearly doubled in the state of Maryland. The non-fatal shooting rate did double in the state of Maryland. And it's the reason that when I became the governor, I said our #1 priority was going to be public safety. And while we still have very real work to do, we're also very clear that the results that we have started to see in the past 2.5 years are deeply encouraging. Where we have now seen how the homicide rate in the state of Maryland is down 20%. No, 100%. But having more work to
Governor,
do,
1 moment, please.
Is not taking a victory lap, and also having more work to do.
You did
also
suggest
does not mean it's not a problem.
The president is doing this for show. Governor, I believe we also have a little bit of delay, so it'll be hard on the back and forth. But you did suggest that what the president is doing is for show, and it's about politics. When you admit that you have a violent crime problem in Maryland, and by the way, the answer to the question that I ask you is third. Baltimore ranks third in the nation in violent crime. For what it's worth, all top 10 cities in America are run by Democrat mayors under Democrat policies. In fact, you could go down to the top 20. Run by Democrat mayors, run by Democrat policies. And if that is the case, and you want to work on the problem,
again,
Governor,
I think
why not work with the president? Why not work with the president like Washington, D.C.?
That the partisan issues of Democrat-run cities or Democrat-run states, frankly, is I think the thing that makes people so upset about politics in the first place. Because public safety does not have a partisan bend. Public safety is not about a political party. Public safety is about, are you willing to do anything and everything in your power to make sure that you're doing things that are actually effective to make sure that people are safe? If you look at what's happened since I've been the governor, I have made the largest investments in local law enforcement in the history of the state of Maryland. We've invested over $50 million in the Baltimore City Police Department alone. That we've invested in technologies and predictive analytics, and have said that if someone commits a violent crime, particularly with a firearm, I want them in handcuffs in 24 hours. And we've invested in prosecutors to make sure they're prosecuted. That Maryland is one of the only states in the country that actually invests in U.S. attorneys out of balance sheet to make sure we're moving some of these gun crimes into federal crimes. And so I will always invest in things that are effective.
Governor, I appreciate the investment, but it would just seem to me if despite that investment, Baltimore still ranks third in the nation in violent crime rate per capita in the nation, that you would welcome in the President of the United States help with crime in Maryland. And as to the point of partisan politics, it's simply the truth. The truth isn't partisan. And the truth is most of the major cities in the United States are run by Democrat governors, and they're also the highest rate crime cities in the country. I'm on limited time, and I want to give you a chance to address something,
I would
though, Governor.
Absolutely welcome federal support.
Apparently, there we go. You would welcome federal support. That's wonderful to hear.
I would absolutely welcome federal support.
Happy to hear that.
But I also know what federal support is going to be necessary and required. It's the reason that I've said we would love to have additional support for license plate readers, things that we know can actually stop crimes as they are happening and making sure that people are brought to justice, and not having $30 million cut from public safety budgeting that is coming from the federal government. That I would love to be able to make sure that the federal government can do things like ban ghost guns, and making sure we're eliminating these extended clips for Glocks, which essentially are turning Glocks into automatic weapons. I would love to make sure we're investing in local law enforcement, because we are watching cuts that are happening to local law enforcement, and also gun safety funding.
Governor, we can't let all of that stand in the way of the immediate solution being offered by the federal government. Well, you can't let all of that stand in the way and be an excuse for rejecting the solution being offered at the doorstep, which is the help of the federal government when it comes to the National Guard. I'm on very limited time because I do have a pre-interview with Vice President J.D. Vance, and I want to give you a chance to address this, Governor, because the President of the United States has brought it up. In 2006, on your application for a White House fellowship, you put on your application that you were the recipient of a Bronze Star, I believe also with a Combat Action Badge. That was not true. You have apologized and said it was an honest mistake. Here's what President Trump said. Did Wes Moore, the governor of Maryland, lie about getting his Bronze Star? The question, Governor, is why did you let it go on, even if it was a mistake, for years and years and years as you were celebrated as having a Bronze Star?
I'm very proud of my service to this country. And I think, and I'm not sure if you've served, Will, but I think as anyone who has served in this country, if you look at what we were able to do overseas and the fact that I was recognized by the United States Army with both the Bronze Star and the Combat Action Badge, I think I'm not only proud of the service that I have done to this country and the fact that I was willing to put my life on the line, wear the uniform of this country, overseas and lead soldiers, but I also know that the soldiers that I serve with are also proud. And also, I know that most soldiers and most veterans know the ridiculousness of this line, and especially when they know that as someone who's actually led soldiers in combat and someone who's actually led led people overseas, and to know the United States Army actually recognized me with these awards, I think it does matter.
Okay. Governor, first of all, I appreciate your service. I appreciate your service in combat. It's not something that I did, and I recognize and honor your service for this country, and I mean that sincerely. But this is important because it's not ridiculous.
And I appreciate that.
It's important to know that you also are telling the truth. And you did get the Bronze Star, but you got the Bronze Star 2 years ago. And that 2 years ago, you got the medal, you got a citation, you got a ceremony. But you claimed it in 2006 when you didn't have any of those things. So you would know if you got the Bronze Star. The question is, why did you claim it for so long before you got it? And by the way, the Pentagon has responded to this. I want to read you a statement from DOD. They have something to say about this as well. The Pentagon said in 2006, Wes Moore listed a Bronze Star on his resume he didn't have until 2 decades later. Wes Moore is a perfect example of a politician who inflates his resume and hopes no one notices. Your response, Governor?
My response is I'm very proud of my service, and I'm thankful that the United States military has recognized my service in Afghanistan with both the Bronze Star and the Combat Action Badge. I'm thankful for the service that I did overseas. I'm thankful for the soldiers that I led with. I'm thankful for all of our veterans who understand the sacrifice that we were able to make, and I'm grateful for the opportunity now to be able to continue to do good work on behalf of the people of the state of Maryland.
Yeah. Well, I don't think many people question your service, Governor. I appreciate your service, and I respect and honor that service as well. The question is whether or not you're telling the truth as a politician. And I think that's important to the American people. As we talk about crime or any other issues addressing the state of Maryland, we got to know that the man we're talking to is also one that's willing to tell us the truth. And this does not look like good evidence of your willingness to tell the truth.
I think if you look at my military records, you can see that I'm not just very proud of the fact that I'm a decorated combat veteran, and I, unlike many people in this country, were willing to put on the uniform and sacrifice myself on behalf of this country. I'm proud of the work that I did with also my other soldiers and my other veterans across this country.
All right. Governor, I also appreciate the time you spent with us today addressing these questions. Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.